She called it destiny. I called it delusion. So I made destiny choose me while she watched, speechless. The smell of burning sage always makes me think of lies wrapped in sacred smoke. Not because I believe sage has powers. I'm a nurse. I work with facts, with science, with things I can measure and touch. But because it was the smell that filled Sarah's apartment that August afternoon when she told me with crystals in her hands and tears in her eyes that the universe had spoken, that Noah, my Noah, was hers, always was, always would be, that past lives don't lie, that destiny is non-negotiable. Destiny. Dangerous word. A word that removes responsibility from choices and places it on invisible forces that conveniently always agree with what you want. But let me back up. Let me tell you how a girl who always believed in free will almost lost everything to someone who believed in fabricated destiny. Or pretended to believe, because that, I later discovered, is the crucial difference. Serafina Winters. Sarah to friends, Serafina the Seer to her 120,000 Instagram followers, was my best friend for 15 years. We grew up together in Austin, two girls who didn't perfectly fit, but fit with each other. I was the rational one, the one who wanted to be a doctor. I ended up being a nurse, but that's another story. She was the dreamer, the one who read tarot at lunchtime and saw meaning in everything. 3 crows in the parking lot, she would say with reverence. Or it means there's an open trash can near the diner, I would reply. She would roll her eyes, but we would laugh, because it was harmless, quirky, part of her charm, until it wasn't anymore. Sarah discovered her gifts at 22 after a trip to Sedona, Arizona. She came back different, not just believing in spirituality, but monetizing it. She started by doing free tarot readings, then charged $50, then $200, then $500 for a full past lives and soul purpose session. Sarah, you're preying on vulnerable people, I said when she told me about a client who paid $2,000 for a full cosmic alignment package. I'm offering a service. I'm helping people find meaning. You're selling fantasy to desperate people. And you're selling pills to sick people. What's the difference? The difference is that my pills work. There's evidence. There's science. Not everything needs science, Harper. Sometimes faith is enough. She used my middle name, the one I hated, the one only she used. But you never understood that. You always needed proof, of logic, of reason. It must be exhausting to live in such a small world. That hurt, more than it should have, because there was truth there. I was a skeptic. I questioned everything. And part of me wondered if I was missing something by not believing. We drifted apart after that conversation, not dramatically, just gradually. She got busy with her spiritual business. I got busy with work at the hospital. And eventually, we stopped talking completely. 5 years of silence. 5 years where I hadn't missed her, hadn't thought of her, hadn't wondered what she was doing. And then she came back and brought chaos wrapped in incense and promises of destiny. Noah Grant was everything Sarah wasn't. Rational, skeptical, evidence-based. He was a high school physics teacher, and when we met at a bar where a group of friends gathered, the first thing he said was, "Do you believe in astrology?" No. Thank God. My last date spent an hour telling me we were incompatible because she's a Scorpio and I'm a Capricorn. Technically, you're a collection of atoms that has no relation whatsoever to the position of stars when you were born. He laughed. Marry me. You don't even know my name. Minor detail. Anyone who understands that astrology is nonsense is someone I want to know. We dated for 2 years. 2 solid years, no drama, built on real, not cosmic, compatibility. Conversations about books and science and politics, walks on Lady Bird Lake, dinners where we cooked together and burned everything and laughed. Real, simple, good. Sarah reappeared on a July afternoon, literally reappeared. I was leaving the hospital after a 12-hour shift when I saw her. Standing in front of my car, wearing something that looked like it came from an occult shop, a flowing purple dress, crystals hanging from her neck, hair in waves that seemed calculatedly messy. "Harper," she smiled, and the smile was warm, familiar. "The universe told me I'd find you here. Or you followed me on social media and saw I work here." "Always so skeptical," she laughed, but there was something in her eyes, something assessing. "You haven't changed at all. You've changed a lot. I've evolved. There's a difference." She approached, and the smell of sage and patchouli was almost suffocating. "We need to talk. There's a reason I came back. The universe has plans." "Sarah, I'm tired. I worked 12 hours. I just want to go home." "It's about your boyfriend, Noah." She said his name with such familiarity that my stomach tightened. I had a vision about him, about us, about past lives and intertwined destinies. Something cold ran down my spine. "How do you know my boyfriend's name?" "The universe showed me. In a dream, in meditation, in signs I can't ignore." Her eyes were too bright, too intense. "Harper, I know this will sound crazy, but you need to listen. Noah and we were lovers in a past life, tragically separated. And now the universe is bringing us back together. And you?" She took my hand, and the touch was icy despite the July heat. "You are a lesson he needs to learn before finding his true path." I pulled my hand back. "Sarah, this is insane. You don't even know Noah." "Not yet, but I will. Because destiny cannot be denied, Harper. You can fight, you can resist, but in the end, what is destined always finds its way." She left before I could reply, leaving behind only the smell of incense and a growing sense of unease I couldn't shake. I should have taken her more seriously at that moment. I should have realized it wasn't just Sarah being dramatic. There was something calculated in how she said Noah's name. Standing in front of my car, wearing something that looked like it came from an occult shop, a flowing purple dress, crystals hanging from her neck, hair in waves that seemed calculatedly messy. "Harper," she smiled, and the smile was warm, familiar. "The universe told me I'd find you here. Or you followed me on social media and saw I work here." Always so skeptical. She laughed, but there was something in her eyes, something assessing. "You haven't changed at all. You've changed a lot. I've evolved. There's a difference." She approached, and the smell of sage and patchouli was almost suffocating. "We need to talk. There's a reason I came back. The universe has plans." "Sarah, I'm tired. I worked 12 hours. I just want to go home." "It's about your boyfriend, Noah." She said his name with such familiarity that my stomach tightened. I had a vision about him, about us, about past lives and intertwined destinies. Something cold ran down my spine. "How do you know my boyfriend's name?" "The universe showed me. In a dream, in meditation, in signs I can't ignore." Her eyes were too bright, too intense. "Harper, I know this will sound crazy, but you need to listen. Noah and we were lovers in a past life, tragically separated, and now the universe is bringing us back together. And you," she took my hand, and the touch was icy despite the July heat. "You are a lesson he needs to learn before finding his true path." I pulled my hand back. "Sarah, this is insane. You don't even know Noah." "Not yet, but I will. Because destiny cannot be denied, Harper. You can fight, you can resist, but in the end, what is destined always finds its way." She left before I could reply, leaving behind only the smell of incense and a growing sense of unease I couldn't shake. I should have taken her more seriously at that moment. I should have realized it wasn't just Sarah being dramatic. There was something calculated in how she said Noah's name, how she knew about him, how she was already building a narrative. But I was tired and skeptical, and I thought ignoring her would make her go away. I was so wrong. I told Noah that night, expecting him to laugh, to dismiss it as madness, and he did. Past lives? Seriously? He was cutting vegetables for dinner and almost cut his finger from laughing so hard. "Harper, your friend is... Wow, she really believes that?" Ex-friend, and yes, she believes it, or she's a very good faker. What's the practical difference? Good question. I paused. Noah, she knew your name. I never posted about you on social media, never tagged you. How did she know? Mutual friends? Austin isn't that big. We don't have mutual friends. I completely distanced myself from her circle 5 years ago. He stopped cutting, finally taking it seriously. So how? I don't know, but it makes me uncomfortable. Want me to block her preemptively before she tries to contact me? You think she will? If she really believes this destiny thing, yes. Eventually she'll try to honor the universe or something. He pulled me into a hug. But Harper, I'm a physics teacher. I teach about observable and measurable reality. There's no mystical force pulling me to your crazy ex-friend. There's just you, and a conscious choice to be with you. I kissed him, grateful. I love you. I love you too, and no amount of crystals or incense will change that. But the universe, or Sarah pretending to be the universe, had other plans. The first coincidence happened a week later. Noah and I were having brunch at Magnolia Cafe when Sarah showed up. Not at our table, but in the cafe. Sitting alone, reading a book on quantum physics, I noticed the title later, drinking tea. When she saw us, her face lit up with a surprise that seemed too performative to be real. Harper, Noah! She approached, and the smell of sage came with her. What an incredible coincidence! I was just thinking about you two. Coincidence, I repeated, voice flat. The universe works in mysterious ways. She looked at Noah, and there was something in her eyes. Intensity, performative recognition. Noah, I finally meet you. I'm Sarah, and I feel like I've known you forever. Yeah, Harper mentioned you. The friend who believes in past lives. I don't believe. I know. She sat down uninvited. And Noah, I know you're a skeptic. You're a physics teacher. You believe in measurable things. But, she paused dramatically, what if I could prove it? What if I could tell you things about yourself that no one knows? Things that could only come from a deeper connection. Sarah, I began, we're having a private brunch. You have a scar on your left shoulder, Sarah said, eyes fixed on Noah, from when you fell out of a tree at 8 years old, and you still dream about it sometimes, about the fall, about the impact. Noah turned pale. How do you... Past lives. I was there. I saw you fall. I held your hand while you cried. She smiled, soft. You don't remember, not yet, but you will, when you allow the memories to return. This is... Noah was staring at her as if she'd grown a second head. That's information anyone could find with basic research. Then explain this. Sarah closed her eyes. You carry a photo in your wallet. Not of Harper, of a dog, a golden retriever named Buddy. He died 3 years ago, cancer, and you still blame yourself for not noticing the signs sooner. Noah's face lost all color, because that he had never posted, never shared publicly. It was private, guarded pain. How, his voice came out raspy, how do you know that? Because we are connected, through time, through space, through something science cannot yet measure. Sarah stood up. I didn't come here to scare you. I came because the universe guided me. And when the universe speaks, I listen. I hope you listen too. She left, leaving Noah and me in stunned silence. How did she know about Buddy? Noah finally asked, his voice trembling. I don't know, but there's a logical explanation. There has to be. I never told anyone about blaming myself, not even you. How did she know? Noah, look at me. I took his face. She's a con artist. She uses psychological tricks, cold reading, research. She's not a psychic. She's a manipulator. But that's specific information. There's an explanation, and we'll find it. But my voice sounded less confident than I felt, because for the first time, I was doubting too. That's the power of good con artists. They don't just deceive. They make you doubt your own rationality. They make you question what you know to be true. And once you start doubting, they've already won half the battle. Sarah didn't stop at one coincidence. In the following days, she showed up, a lot. At the bookstore Noah frequented, in the park where we jogged, at the Thai restaurant that was our secret favorite, the one we didn't post about, didn't mention, that was just ours. And each time, she had a message from the universe. Each time, she knew something that seemed impossible to know. Noah has been thinking about changing careers, she posted on Instagram. The universe is saying he has a greater purpose, something that combines science with spirituality, something that can only happen when he's with the right person. Noah was thinking about changing careers. He had mentioned it to me a week before. Only to me. No one else knew. How does she know? He asked, looking at the post. Harper, seriously, how does she know? I don't know, but we will find out. I called Mika, my fellow nurse and friend since nursing school. Mika had a background in criminal investigation before becoming a nurse, a long story involving disillusionment with the justice system, but she kept her skills. I need you to investigate someone, I said. Who? Serafina Winters, spiritual medium, claiming to have visions about my boyfriend. Oh, crap, she's one of those. Mika was already typing. Send me everything you have. I'll figure out how she's doing it. What if it's not a trick? What if she really… Harper Blake, you're a nurse. You work with evidence-based medicine. You don't believe in psychic powers. I know. But the things she knows, Mika, specific, private, how? That's what I'm going to find out. But Harper, don't let her make you doubt reality. That's exactly what she wants. Sarah's post that night was more direct. A photo of her meditating, golden light, crystals around her. Caption, when the universe shows you your twin flame, you don't question it. You honor it, even when it's complicated. Even when there are obstacles. Because destiny is non-negotiable. True love, past life love, always finds its way back. Hashtag twin flames, hashtag destiny, hashtag past lives. Comments flooded in. Who's the lucky one? You deserve your soulmate love. The universe always knows. And then, buried among hundreds of comments, one that made my blood run cold. He's a physics teacher in Austin. He teaches about measurable reality. But there are things science can't explain. And our connection is one of them. He knows. Deep down, he knows. He just needs to allow the memories to return. She was talking about Noah, publicly, to 120,000 people. Noah saw it. Of course he did. She had tagged him. This is harassment, he said, blocking her immediately. She's creating a public narrative about a relationship that doesn't exist. We should go to the police. And say what? That a psychic is posting about destiny? They'll laugh at us. So what do? We ignore her. We don't engage. We don't give her the oxygen she needs. He pulled me close. Harper, she can post whatever she wants. It doesn't change the facts. I choose you, consciously, rationally. No destiny involved. I kissed him, wanting to believe it would be that simple. But the seed of doubt had been planted, not in me, in Noah. I saw it in his eyes, the question he didn't want to ask but couldn't stop thinking about. What if she's right? If you're enjoying this story, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Share in the comments if you've ever had someone use destiny as an excuse for inappropriate behavior. Mika called me at 3 in the morning the following Tuesday. I was on duty at the hospital, checking a post-op patient's vital signs when my phone vibrated. I found something, she said without preamble, about Sarah. And Harper, it's bad. How bad? She's done this before, 3 times. Always the same pattern. My heart sank. Tell me. The first time was 5 years ago, Seattle. A married man named David Chen. Sarah had a vision that they were soulmates. She pursued him for months, claiming destiny. His wife almost had a nervous breakdown. They eventually got a restraining order. She never mentioned that. Because she moved before facing consequences. She came to Austin. 2 years later, she did it again. An entrepreneur in San Francisco, whom she met at a spiritual retreat. Same story, past lives, destiny, twin flames. His girlfriend exposed her as a fraud. Sarah disappeared again. And the third? Denver, last year, a university professor, married, 2 children. Sarah almost destroyed his family before he discovered that she had hacked his email accounts, was reading his therapy notes, using private information to fake psychic visions. Bile rose in my throat. She's a con artist. She's a predator. She targets men in stable relationships, skeptical men who she can convert, men who have something to prove. And she uses stolen information to create the illusion of a cosmic connection. How does she get the information? Hacking, usually. She's good with technology, better than her spiritual persona suggests. But she also uses psychology, cold reading, observation. She studied with her mother, remember? I remembered. Sarah's mother, Dr. Patricia Winters, was a psychologist. Before retiring, she was an expert in body language and microexpressions. Sarah had grown up learning to people. So her visions about Noah are information she stole. She probably hacked his accounts, or yours, or both. And she's using it to create the illusion of psychic powers. Mika paused. Harper, you need to warn Noah. And you both need to change all your passwords, now. I warned Noah the next morning. I showed Noah everything Mika had found, news articles about restraining orders, blog posts from previous victims, a clear pattern of predatory behavior. He read in silence, his expression growing darker and darker. So she's not a psychic. She's a stalker who uses spirituality as a cover. Yes. And the things she knew about me? Stolen, hacked, researched. Not visions, not destiny. Just crime. He should have been relieved. He should have been furious. But instead, he seemed disappointed. Noah? It's stupid, he said, running a hand through his hair. But part of me wanted it to be real. Not the part about her and me, but the part about there being more. About the universe not just being physics and chemistry. About there being meaning. And there it was, the vulnerability Sarah had identified. Noah was skeptical because he was afraid to believe, afraid to be foolish. But deep down, he wanted magic. He wanted mystery. And Sarah had found that crack and was hammering at it. There is meaning, I said gently, but it comes from us, from the choices we make, from the love we build, not from stars or past lives or destiny. I know, you're right. It's just, he looked at me. Wouldn't it be easier if there was destiny? If we didn't have to constantly choose, constantly doubt, constantly work? If we just knew? Easier? Maybe, but not real. And I prefer real and hard to easy and fake. Me too. Sorry, I just had a moment of weakness. We all do. I kissed him. But Noah, we need to be careful. Sarah is dangerous, and she's targeting you specifically. Why me? She doesn't even know me. Because you're mine. And Sarah always wanted what I had. The first revelation came 3 days later, when Mika hacked, legally questionable, but effective, Sarah's computer. Harper, sit down. This is going to be heavy. I sat in the hospital break room, a cup of bad coffee in my hands, as Mika opened her laptop. I found everything. Every victim, every scheme, but I also found the why. The why? Digital diary. Sarah keeps one. And Harper, she's not just doing this for money or fun. She's sick, genuinely sick. Mika showed me entries, years of them, starting when Sarah was 16. Mom says I'm special, that I have a gift others don't. She taught me to read microexpressions, to notice details others miss. Says if I use it right, I can make people believe anything. I can be powerful, finally be seen. More entries, darker ones. Harper doesn't understand. She has everything naturally. Intelligence, beauty, ease with people. She doesn't have to work for attention. But me, I need to create magic. I need to make people believe I'm special. Because if I'm not special, I'm nothing. And then the entry that changed everything. Mom told me something today, something that explains everything. She said that when I was a baby, I almost died. Cardiac arrest. 3 minutes without oxygen. And when I came back, she swore I was different, that there was something missing, as if part of me had stayed on the other side. She never told me that before, but it explains why I always felt empty, why I always needed to create personas, stories, magic, because there's a hole in me that nothing fills. And the only time I feel whole is when I'm making someone believe, when I'm controlling a narrative. And there it was, the vulnerability Sarah had identified. Noah was skeptical because he was afraid to believe, afraid to be foolish. But deep down, he wanted magic. He wanted mystery. And Sarah had found that crack and was hammering at it. This is sociopathy, Mika said, her voice hard. She's treating your lives like a game, like an experiment. I need to show this to Noah. Not yet. First, we need more. Because if you show this now, she'll claim she was hacked, that it's false, that you're being paranoid. We need something irrefutable. Like what? Like catching her in the act. Like making her admit it. Like, Mika smiled, and there was something predatory in that smile. Noah was different in the following days. Distant, thoughtful. He didn't mention Sarah, but I saw it. He was thinking about her visions, about the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there was something beyond what science explained. "Do you believe in soulmates?" he asked one night as we were washing dishes. "Not in the mystical sense, but I believe in compatibility, in choosing someone and working to make it work. But what if there was more? What if there was a connection that transcends choice? That's inevitable." "You're talking about Sarah." "No, maybe. I don't know." He put the plate down, turned to look at me. "Harper, the things she knows. How does she know? Give me an explanation that makes sense." "She stole the information, hacked your accounts, researched you." "But how did she know about Buddy specifically? About the guilt? That's nowhere online. I never wrote about it, never posted." "Did you tell anyone? A therapist? A friend?" "I told Jake, once, in a private Facebook message, 3 years ago." "So she hacked your Facebook, read old messages?" "Or," he said, and there was something in his voice, "she really saw it, through some connection we don't understand yet." My heart sank. "You're considering that she might be right?" "No, I'm questioning what I know, what I believe." He took my hand. "Harper, I love you. That much I know for sure. But what if love isn't enough? What if there's destiny and we're fighting against it? Then we fight, because a destiny that takes away choice isn't destiny. It's a prison." But I saw it in his eyes. The doubt had taken root, and doubt, once planted, grows fast. If you're following this story, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, do you believe in destiny or free will? Why? The second revelation came when Mika finally hacked, again, legally questionable, Sarah's backup system. "Harper, sit down. This is going to be heavy." I sat in the hospital break room, a cup of bad coffee in my hands, as Mika opened her laptop. I found everything, every victim, every scheme, but I also found the why. The why. Digital diary. Sarah keeps one. And Harper, she's not just doing this for money or fun. She's sick. Genuinely sick. Mika showed me entries, years of them, starting when Sarah was 16. "Mom says I'm special, that I have a gift others don't. She taught me to read micro-expressions, to notice details others miss. Says if I use it right, I can make people believe anything. I can be powerful, finally be seen." More entries, darker ones. "Harper doesn't understand. She has everything naturally. Intelligence, beauty, ease with people. She doesn't have to work for attention. But me? I need to create magic. I need to make people believe I'm special. Because if I'm not special, I'm nothing." And then, the entry that changed everything. "Mom told me something today, something that explains everything. She said that when I was a baby, I almost died. Cardiac arrest. 3 minutes without oxygen. And when I came back, she swore I was different, that there was something missing, as if part of me had stayed on the other side. She never told me that before, but it explains why I always felt empty, why I always needed to create personas, stories, magic, because there's a hole in me that nothing fills. And the only time I feel whole is when I'm making someone believe, when I'm controlling a narrative. Harper has Noah. She has real love, and I hate her for it. I hate that she has what I'll never have, so I'm taking it, not because I want Noah, but because I want to prove I can, that my magic is stronger than her reality. And suddenly, Sarah wasn't just a villain anymore. She was a deeply broken person, trying to fill a void with external validation, trying to feel whole by controlling others. It didn't excuse what she was doing, but it explained it. And in a strange way, it made everything sadder. She needs help, I whispered. Real professional help. Yes, but first, we need to stop her from destroying you both. Mika closed her laptop. Because Harper, she won't stop. She can't. It's a compulsion for her. And the more Noah resists, the more she'll escalate. What do? We use what she fears most against her. Exposure, truth, reality. Mika looked at me. But Harper, this will cost. Exposing her means exposing private information. It means potentially destroying her publicly. Are you ready for that? And there it was, moral ambiguity. I had evidence that would destroy Sarah, but using it meant becoming the kind of person who publicly exposes others. It meant causing pain, even justified. Was I different from her? Or was I becoming exactly what I hated? I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants justice, wants her to face consequences. But another part feels sorry for her. Yes, because she's sick. And sickness deserves treatment, not humiliation. But what about Noah and you and her next victims? Mika took my hand. Harper, compassion is beautiful, but not at the cost of your own safety, not at the cost of letting a predator continue to prey. She was right. I knew she was, but it still hurt. Sarah escalated the following week. She showed up at Noah's school, not as a stalker, as a guest speaker. She had convinced the principal that she could give a lecture on science and spirituality, finding a bridge. Noah didn't know until she was there, in the auditorium, in front of 200 high school students. Physics tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, she said, her voice resonating, only transformed. So where does our energy go when we die? Where does our consciousness go? Maybe it doesn't disappear. Maybe it just changes form. Maybe it returns in new bodies, new lives, but the same souls. She looked directly at Noah, who was at the back of the room, pale and furious. And perhaps, sometimes, souls recognize each other through time, through space, through something science cannot yet measure but one day will. She smiled. Professor Grant, you teach about observable reality, but I ask, is reality less real just because we don't yet have the tools to measure it? The students were fascinated, some filming, some posting on social media in real time. Noah couldn't do anything without seeming irrational, without causing a scene. So he stood there, helpless, while Sarah used his own students as an audience for her narrative. When it was over, she approached him, in front of everyone. Thank you for letting me speak with your students. They are brilliant, like you. She touched his arm, and the touch lasted 2 seconds longer than it should have. We need to talk about the visions, about what the universe is trying to tell us. There's nothing to talk about, Noah said, his voice low but firm. You need to stop. This is harassment. Harassment is trying to silence the truth. I'm not pursuing you, Noah. I'm waking you up. She leaned closer, whispering but loud enough for nearby students to hear. You feel it too, the connection. You're just afraid to admit it. I feel nothing but discomfort. Leave. Now. I will, but Noah, she smiled, destiny doesn't rush. I can wait. Noah was destroyed when he got home that night. I was waiting, having left my shift early. She used my students, he said, his voice broken, used children to manipulate me. And now there are videos, posts, everyone talking about physics teacher and spiritual medium having a philosophical debate, as if it were intellectual, as if it weren't her harassing me. Let's go to the police, with everything, Mika's evidence, her history, this. And what will they do? She didn't threaten me, didn't touch me. She just exists near me and talks about destiny. That's not a crime, but it's harassment that I can't prove without seeming paranoid. He sank onto the couch. Harper, I'm starting to understand why her previous victims gave up. Because fighting someone who uses spirituality as a weapon, you look like the irrational one. You look like the controller. She's just following her heart and honoring the universe. He was right. Sarah had found the perfect weapon. Because how do you fight destiny without seeming like you're fighting love? How do you set boundaries against the universe without seeming closed off and controlling? She had put us in an impossible position. So what do we do? I don't know, but Harper, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Of course. Do you think it's possible that maybe she really does have some kind of perception, that it's not all a trick? The question broke me, because it meant doubt had grown, that Sarah was winning. You want it to be possible, I realized. You want to believe in magic. I don't want to believe in her specifically, but I want there to be more than just atoms and physics and eventual emptiness. And she's offering that. Meaning, purpose, destiny. And me, what do I offer? Reality, real love, real partnership, real life. He pulled me close. And I choose that. I choose you. But Harper, I won't lie. Part of me is tempted. By her narrative, by the idea that maybe there's a cosmic reason for everything. Then she's winning. No, but she's making me question, and I hate that she is. If you're following this journey, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, have you ever doubted your own perception of reality? How did you get back to Earth? The third revelation, the nuclear bomb, came from an unexpected place. Sarah's mother. Dr. Patricia Winters contacted me through LinkedIn. Simple message. We need to talk about my daughter. Urgent. We met at a cafe on South Congress. She looked different from the last time I saw her, years ago. Older, more tired, carrying the weight of guilt in every line of her face. Thank you for coming, she said, hands trembling around a teacup. I saw her posts about your boyfriend, and I knew she was doing it again. Again? Serafina doesn't have psychic gifts, Autumn. She has a personality disorder. Multiple, in fact. Patricia pulled out an envelope. This is her medical file from when she was 16 and was hospitalized after an incident. I opened the envelope. Psychiatric reports, diagnoses, narcissistic personality disorder, sociopathic traits, dissociation from reality. When she was 3 minutes without oxygen at birth, Patricia continued, her voice breaking, I thought we had lost her. And when she came back, I was so grateful, so relieved, that I ignored the signs that something was wrong. What signs? Lack of real empathy, ability to lie without remorse, need to control narratives. And at 16, she developed a fixation on a teacher, claimed they were soulmates, followed him, created scenarios. Eventually, he got a restraining order, and she was hospitalized. And then she learned to be more subtle, to use language that couldn't be legally challenged, destiny, universe, past lives. And she used what I taught, psychology, reading people, to create the illusion of powers. Patricia looked at me, tears streaming down her face. I created a monster. I gave her tools, and she used them to manipulate vulnerable people. Why are you telling me this now? Because she will escalate, always escalates. And this time I feel it will be worse. Because you're not just a random victim. You're Harper, the girl she envied for years. And when Serafina fixates on something she envies, she doesn't stop until she destroys or possesses it. And there it was, the final piece. Sarah wasn't just manipulating Noah. She was systematically destroying me, using the same tools she used on previous victims, but this time it was personal. It was revenge for years of feeling less. And Noah was just a tool. What do I do? Expose her, completely, with medical evidence, history, everything, before she destroys you both. Patricia pushed the envelope towards me. This is a copy of everything. Reports, history, previous restraining orders. Use it. Save your relationship, and maybe save my daughter from herself. The confrontation was planned for a public event. Sarah was organizing a spiritual awakening workshop at a community center. $300 per person, 50 spots, all sold out. Noah was invited as a special guest. She had posted about skeptical scientist who is starting to see the light. Let's go, I said to Noah. Let's go to her workshop. Why? To give her a stage? To take her stage away, in front of everyone. We brought Mika, and Dr. Patricia, and a lawyer Mika had hired. When we entered, Sarah was in the middle of a guided meditation, her voice soft and hypnotic filling the room. When she saw us, all of us, her face went white. "Noah," she said, quickly regaining composure. "You came. The universe sent you nothing," I interrupted, my voice clear and firm, "but your history of harassment, your previous victims, and your mother did." "Mom, what did you do?" "What I should have done years ago. I stopped you. Serafina, you are sick. You need help, and I will no longer enable you to destroy lives. I'm not destroying, I'm honoring destiny." "There is no destiny," Noah said, his voice like thunder. "There is only you, using psychological tricks and stolen information to create the illusion of powers. You hacked me, Sarah. You read my private messages. You stole intimate information, and you used it to make me believe you were psychic." "That's not true." "It is." Mika projected her laptop onto the big screen. The document, Noah Grant Project. Every strategy, every manipulation, every lie. The room erupted, people screaming, demanding refunds, calling Sarah a fraud. Sarah was staring at the screen, tears streaming, but not from sadness, from anger, from being caught. "You don't understand," she said, her voice rising above the chaos. "I didn't make this up. The visions are real. The connection is real." "It's not." Noah was in front of her now. "And let you know how I know, because real love, the love I have with Harper, doesn't need cosmic justification. It doesn't need past lives or destiny or signs. It's just a choice, a daily choice, and I choose her." "You're making a mistake." "No, I made a mistake when I doubted, when I let you plant seeds of doubt, but no more." He took my hand. "Harper is real. You are an illusion, and I choose real." Sarah looked at me, and her whole performance crumbled. Underneath was just emptiness. The girl who almost died and never felt completely alive afterwards. The woman who needed external validation because she had no internal. "You always had everything," she whispered. "Always. And me? I had to create magic just to be seen." "Then create real magic," I said, and there was compassion in my voice despite everything. Through healing, through honesty, through stopping using people. "I don't know how to be anything else." "Then learn. With a therapist, with treatment, but away from us." If you're following along, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, do you believe people like Sarah can change? Sarah was voluntarily hospitalized a week later, not because her family forced her, but because she finally saw the emptiness, the compulsion, the sickness. We didn't reconcile, not immediately, but she wrote, "Harper, you were right about everything. There is no destiny, only choices, and my choices were terrible. I'm doing the work now, not for you, for myself, to finally fill the void without using other people." I kept the letter. I didn't reply, but I kept it. Noah and I didn't get married immediately. It took time to rebuild broken trust. "I doubted you," he said in a couples therapy session. "I let a con artist make me question real love. You're human. Humans doubt. But I should have trusted. in you, in us, in the reality we built. And now you trust? Now I know that trust isn't never doubting, it's choosing to believe even when doubt whispers. It took 8 months, 8 months of work, but we rebuilt, stronger, more real. When Noah asked me to marry me again, it wasn't elaborate. It was us, at home, and him saying, "Marry me." Not because destiny said so, but because I choose. Every day, I choose you. I said yes, of course I did. The wedding was simple. Garden, 40 people, no drama. And yes, Sarah was there. Not in the front row, but there. Because she had done the work, a year of treatment. And she asked to come. Not to participate, just to witness. To see what real love looks like. To remember why I'm doing this work. I let her come. Because forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's letting go. As I walked down the aisle, I saw her, crying silently. And when our eyes met, she nodded. Sad, genuine. And I nodded back. Because in the end, I had chosen my own destiny. And it was more beautiful than any vision Sarah could have fabricated. This story shows us that destiny is an excuse. Free will is power. And real love doesn't need cosmic justification, just daily choice. Sarah wasn't a pure villain. She was a broken person who used spirituality to fill a void. But that doesn't excuse it. It explains, but it doesn't justify. Autumn learned that trusting herself is more important than any sign from the universe. And Noah learned that real magic doesn't come from destiny. It comes from choosing someone every day. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments which story you'd like to hear next. Remember, you are stronger than you think. And you, what do you value more, destiny or choice? More stories are appearing on your screen now. Stay with us, because in the end, you write your own destiny, no one else.